I'm Vera from England, and my grandson Christopher is on a 3-week visit from Utah. I don't know why he has asked me to do this. I haven't had any warning, I've had no preparation, but I've never liked to say no to a challenge. So please don't expect this to be a professional piano recital. It's not about my playing, it's about the story behind each piece. About 30 years ago, I started to get inspirational music when I least expected it. It just happened, and each piece I've got over an hour's playing time. Now that's not what you're going to get now, but each piece I've received when I've really needed it. And I don't know where it comes from, but they're not my own compositions. Now the first one I'm going to play, I've had to call it Thank You for My Gift. I have a lovely friend who visits me from the musicians, it's now called Help Musicians, and it's one of the charities I support. And she visits me regularly, and one time she came about 2 years ago, and she was saying how much they all love my inspirational music. And after she left, I panicked. I thought, maybe I'll never get any more. I can't make it happen. I don't do this. And then I sat in my chair and I thought, thank you for my gift. And I went over to the piano, and this is what I got, if I can remember it, hoping I won't have a senior moment. And I've had to call it Thank You for My Gift.
We're ready.
Now, the next piece I'm going to play, my daughter, Christopher, mother, they live in Utah, and about 2.5 years ago I received a phone call from her. She rings me every night, but this particular one, she had to tell me that she had just been diagnosed with an extremely rare eye condition, which I can't pronounce, that nobody knows the cause, there's no cure, and it can lead to blindness. Well, the next day, you can imagine how I felt, and I couldn't even find the words to pray. So I sat in my chair, and then I walked over to the piano, because I have a walking problem now, and I have a wheelchair. But I managed to get from my chair to my piano, and I just put everything I was feeling that I couldn't put into words on my piano, which again I hope I'll remember. Thank you. And of course I have to call it a mother's prayer. Now the next one I'm going to play is rather special. Just a year ago my husband died, and that's why Christopher's here this year, because his brother got to the funeral, and well, the fare is very expensive. So since then Christopher's came to see me this year. I've not seen him for 10 years and that's putting me through all this. Anyway, 3 days before my husband's funeral, I got some music in my head. I couldn't get to the piano to do anything at all with it, until I had the house to myself, which was the day after the funeral. And I managed to play. I was working all day because I've got it on my head, but I've got to get my fingers and get the right fingers and play it. But I couldn't think of a title. Now, I have a very, very lovely, lifelong, many years friend who used to live nearby, but now she lives in Cornwall. I'll give you her name because it's Doreen Field. She's written several children's books. She's been blind now for over 2 years, and she's written 3 books she's had published in the last year. And anyway, she's wonderful. But she has actually titled most of my inspirational music. So I phoned her, and her husband answered. She's been in and out of accident and emergency now for 2 years, often. She's actually had 4 near-death experiences, but they keep sending her back. We have a joke that they won't have her either upstairs or downstairs, but anyway, when I phoned to tell her that I got the title to the music, her husband answered and he said, "Oh no, Doreen went in hospital yesterday and I don't think she's coming home this time." After about 5 weeks, he hadn't called me and I just had to phone. I said to him, by the way, when you go and visit Doreen tonight, will you tell her I've got the title to that music? So when I phoned 5 weeks later, I was amazed. He said, "Do you want to speak to Doreen?" And I was overjoyed that she was still there. I didn't mention the music, but she did. She said, "Pippi gave me the message when he came in to see me that night." And she said, "I told him, when you get home," now she's blind, she said, "when you get home, will you look on the bedside table and you'll see 2 scraps of paper. On one, I've written, she did this day before she went into hospital. I've written Gilbert's music, and on the other one, tribute to Gilbert." Now, she was writing that at the same time that I was playing it that day, and I got the title. So this one's rather special. And it's tribute to Gilbert, by the way, because thanks to him, I wouldn't be doing what I am now with teaching and music and everything, because when I married him, how many? 70 years ago? He was 93 when he died. I didn't have to go out to work and I practiced 4 hours every day. And without his support, I couldn't have done any of that. I'm going to play is connected with my daughter, not actually Christopher's aunt. When she was younger, she got married in her early 30s, and most of that time we did everything together. And when the day she got married, actually, I was overjoyed that at last she got somebody else to take care of her, somebody else who cared about her. And that was one of the most happiest days of my life. Well, recently, of course, since she's been married, it's different. That's good. Because I'm glad that, as I say, she's got a lovely husband. And so I look back on those days that we did everything together. And recently, I had a friend, actually an ex-pupil, came to see me with her mother. The ex-pupil is now a dentist. And they came to see me at Easter. They would like to have stayed longer, but they were going shopping to help get her wedding dress and things. And it reminded me of everything that, all those things I used to do with Catherine years ago. Next time I saw Catherine, I told her. And I said, that brought back a lot of memories. Do you remember? Well, she was a bit, she didn't quite know what to say. And, I said, yeah, that's lovely. And about a week later, I got this music for Catherine from the word, remember. Next time I saw Catherine, I said, I've got some music now inspired by you. Would you like to hear it? I said, it's called Remember. I don't think she wanted to hear it because I think she was expecting it to be all doom and gloom and sad. I think she was thinking me here, just sobbing my heart out because we don't do those things together anymore. But I think she got a surprise when she heard it. So I'm going to play it to you now if I can remember it. And it's called Remember. To my daughter Catherine.